Hello, young friends. I'm Group Captain A.K. Srivastava, and you're watching my YouTube channel. My young friends, yesterday I published a video, and this video deals with the overplay of factor one, that is planning and organization, and its effects on your personality assessment by the psychologist. Today, we will discuss something more on TAT itself, and this is concerning with one of the two, you may say, the terms which are often discussed in the circles of, SSB coaching, that is the positive approach and OLQs. Today, we are going to discuss something about the positive approach, what is its concept and what are its misnomers. How the over-obsession with the positive approach affects your stories, which ultimately goes much against you. Friends, the wrong prescriptions or the prescriptions by the pseudo-experts, they can ruin the chances of a person. One must take enough of guards from these non-professional opinions. As far as positive approach is concerned, no doubt every successful person, every educated person, every well-adjusted person, irrespective whether he is an officer or whether he is not an officer, whether he is in the military profession or whether he is in the profession of, civil world, any person who is well-adjusted, happy, has got adequate and healthy mental hygiene, person got to be positive. So there's nothing like, great shake about positivity. Somebody says that officer has to be positive. Array, officer has to be positive, all right, but so positive should be his men as well. So the term positivity has been taken in, I would say, people are overplaying on the word positivity without making the candidate realize what is positivity in operational terms. In the name of positivity, certain things are ignored and certain things are added. Let us discuss those things. Friends, I will come to the positivity maybe in about a couple of minutes from now. But it's a reminder what the SSBs look in a prospective candidate. So it's a reminder, if you have gone through my, earlier published videos, I've told there also, and I'm reiterating here, that the SSBs, the SSBs look for those raw qualities which are associated with the personality profile or the job profile, or which are in alignment of the job profile of a young officer. See my videos. I have differentiated between the profile of a young military officer and a senior military officer. Young military officer, his mind, body, reflexes, sensory apparatus, they serve him the best, and that is why his best utilization is in the field of combat. As the officer grows up in the hierarchy, he becomes senior enough to command a unit. His physical involvement in the combat slowly and gradually reduces. The Adam and maintenance functions start then dominating the profile of a senior officer. The next thing is, it is not possible, repeat, it is not possible for any technique or any person to make a long-term prediction about the human beings because human beings change. Their circumstances change. So how a person would believe 20 years, let us say, from now, definitely it is not possible to predict it. You may predict a person's behavior or his tendencies for a short period of time, let's say a few years from now. But certainly not possible to say. Sometimes a person changes, he takes his personality, his behavior takes a almost a U-turn. A very honest person has been found to be absolutely dishonest, and vice versa is also there. A very energetic person ultimately becomes comfort loving. And sometimes a person who has been found to be lazy, his friends find that, well, he has shunned all those tendencies. So human beings change, friends. Not possible to predict about any person's behavior, attitude, and a plethora of other qualities on a long-term basis. This is the sum and substance of the matter. And it is for this reason that selection boards, they are looking for your worth as a prospective military officer who could lead his troops while dealing with the crisis, dealing with difficulties, or for that matter, can lead the troops in war. And this crisis, by the way, is simulated in all the three techniques. Psychologist has got his own ways, group testing officer has got his own ways, and interviewing officer has too got his own unique ways of putting you or making you feel in a situation of crisis, and you give your responses to prove that you have got the capability to handle a crisis of a particular level. If you remember, the group testing officer, for example, he gives you something called as the group planning exercise. Recall what happens. Your group is introduced in some environment for some purpose. After that, a string of problems, and these problems are quite intense in nature, quite urgent in nature. Some of the problems which feature in the GPE or the group planning exercise are, let us say, a bomb is planted on the railway track, a well is poisoned, somebody is abducted, some kind of, a disease, a contagious disease has spread, some dacoits have raided a particular village. So these are the types of the problems that are included in the, these are a few of the things which are frequently noticed in the GPE's group planning exercises. Similarly, if you see the situation reaction test by the psychologist, every situation contains a problem, a stumbling block, sometimes lack of clarity. So trust me, all the three techniques in the selection boards, they are basically aiming to examine your abilities to handle the urgency, difficulty, or the crisis. Now, coming to TAT, what happens? Some of you, under the instructions of those people who are unnecessarily trying their hands in guidance and coaching of psychological technique, you are giving your hero a very simple, ordinary tasks that doesn't have any challenge, that doesn't have any difficulty. So some time back, when I was discussing this tendency with one of the aspirants who approached me for a dossier evaluation, so I found him. I told him, I don't see anything which is a challenge, which is difficult. These things are so very simple, happy-go-lucky. Then he told, sir, he asked me rather a question. Sir, if I'm bringing difficulties and problems in the tasks, will that not be negative? Now, the answer to this is lying on the slide here. Friends, this is the trend of life. Life is full of difficulties and challenges. Whatever goal you give to yourself, I'm asking a question to you. Do you achieve or can you achieve the goal without any struggle? Or just as you wish, or at the time you wish to achieve it, do you achieve it? So, is the goal achievement possible? Notice the trend of the life. Life is full of challenges, difficulties, threats, and risks. Be prepared to handle them. And so will be your job while you're performing in the organization of the armed forces. If you're not prepared, if you're not expecting that the jobs will be difficult or risky or challenging, I'm afraid you'll have a shock of your life. Now coming to the question of positivity or negativity. Remember, in TAT, everything is to be imagined by you only. Either the problems, difficulties, or the issues, or their solution. Nobody is giving you the problem, nobody is giving you the solution. They automatically feature in your stories by the task which your hero is engaged with. There are a few things which you must remember. If you're obsessed with positivity, you will not be giving your hero the challenging task. What will happen? If such tasks of simple organization of some fun picnic, etc., will be featuring as a trend, psychologists then will take you for being a fair weather sailor. You understand the difference between the fair weather sailor and a fighter. Next thing is that your achievement motivation will be taken to be low. A person with high achievement motivation, he enjoys achievement of difficult tasks by fighting the obstructions and difficulties. Psychologists sometimes in the pictures gives you obvious stress. There may be threat. There may be a death. But what happens? The over-obsession with positivity makes you go in a denial mode. Or some time back, I was going through the responses of one gentleman. The picture was showing a person obviously with a dagger, and his appearance and the whole environment was suggesting the threat. But the person writing the story, the candidate, he has taken this dagger and the obvious threat to be a prank of a friend. And many a time, it is every clue is suggesting that the person is dead. Then you people take it as, some of you I'm talking about, and I've seen such dossiers many a time, that XYZ, this person is acting like a dead man, and the whole thing is A drama may be being staged in a college festival. This denial is one of the worst defense mechanisms. If you are in a mode of denial, you will not be alert. Young friends, do a little bit of research on the ways of the army, operations of the army. Let us say, if the army has to move in a convoy from Guwahati to Dimapur, or for that matter, Dimapur to Churachandpur, these people take every precaution to avoid the ambush. How do they do it? I'm not going to tell here, but they take every possible precaution. They anticipate that, well, there could be an attack, surprise attack. Okay. And those people who have denied this, I don't want to unnecessarily name, but many a time the news has come from Chhattisgarh that a particular security forces party was attacked. And the ex post facto analysis has revealed that people did not take enough of guards. Positivity and negativity is to be taken in its correct perspective. You take it in your stories, or you don't take it in the stories, but the life is full of those things which you may call negative, all right, but they are the part of life. Disease, accidents, cheating, murder, everything is a part of this very life. Why you keep, or you must have noticed in the buses, why there is a first aid box kept. Why? Now, everybody's answer will be that in case the bus meets with an accident, or for that matter, if any passenger is injured, so immediately he could be given the first aid. Now, injury or the accident, don't you feel it is negative? But yet you accept its possibility. Okay. Another thing is, I mentioned some time back about the GPE, group planning exercises. A time bomb on the railway track, village being poisoned, somebody being abducted. Don't you think these are negative things? Did you ever ask your GTO, sir, why all these negative things being given to you? Your interviewing officer sometimes asks you, suppose you are going through an isolated place and you find people with foul intentions, they are chasing you, they're stalking you. Did you ever dare ask your GTO, the interviewing officer, sir, why people with foul intentions? Why not people with charitable intentions? Sometimes we jokingly say that the interviewing officer asks you, you are passing through a jungle and suddenly a very fierce lion appears in front of you. So we ask sometimes in Hindi कि भाई इतना बड़ा खतरनाक शेर क्यों आ जाता है जंगल में आपका फ्रेंड क्यों नहीं मिल जाता आपके कोई रिश्तेदार क्यों नहीं मिल जाते आपके चाचा जी क्यों नहीं मिल जाते फूफा जी क्यों नहीं मिल जाते So friends, remember that all the three techniques are putting you in the situation of urgency and crisis. Now, in the TAT, when your hero is engaged in achievement of some task, whatever the task it should be, the task should be having the realistic, mind my words. I'm not saying that you bring some difficulty for the sake of it. No. But pick up a task which is from the real life task, from the real life, I mean, and show your capability to manage that task well. Many times when I discuss with the people and I ask a point blank question, what do you mean by positivity? So the same aged old conventional answer is, sir, if the glass is half empty, then it is negative. If person sees a glass half empty and a person sees the glass half filled, person with positive attitude. Fine, doesn't matter. I was also told, some about 50 years back, the same thing. But now I'm asking a question to you. Suppose a very beloved friend of yours, or maybe a relative, has come to your place after visited you, for that matter, after long many years, and you are, serving him some food, lunch, dinner, whatever is there. Won't you like that your guest is fed well? So for that, whenever his bowl or anything becomes half empty, won't you like to fill it up? Where your attention will be? The bowl which is half filled or which is half empty? Be honest. If you want to feed him well, you have to see that nothing is empty. So you have to see whether it's half empty or full empty. Your attention will go on the emptiness of the bowl rather than the bowl being filled. Tell me. Right or wrong? You go to a doctor, take another situation. Go to the doctor and say, sir, I'm having difficulty in hearing from my left ear. What should the doctor say? I think the doctor should say that, well, you are a person with negative attitude. Be happy that at least you can hear from your right ears. Will that be a part of his profession? No. Unless you pay attention on what is wrong, he will not be in a position to fix it. So please, do not take positivity in that sense. You will go overboard unnecessarily. You will be branded as somebody who is a fair weather sailor. You'll be branded as a person by the psychologist that, well, your achievement motivation is, significantly low. You are in a mode of denial. So friends, very unfortunately, the TAT is least understood. Very unfortunately. And, well, if a person is not qualified in the field of psychology and psychological testing, in that case, his prescription will certainly ruin your prospects. They will spoil your future for good. So please, in your TAT stories, pick up a task with reasonable level of difficulty and challenges. And if possible, it should be urgent as well. Only then, as a reaction to these challenges and difficulties, your capabilities of managing the difficulties and the crisis, that will come out. Selection boards are not looking for a fair weather sailor, or selection boards are not looking for a person who will be engaged only in the simple, average, and the cushy jobs, what we call sometimes proverbially. You will not be involved in the cushy jobs while you are staying in the armed forces. So be prepared for the selection boards testing all the three techniques. They expect you and your reactions to be absolutely adequate and befitting to the situations of difficulties and crisis. And so must be your stories. They should include the task with reasonable level of difficulties and challenges. Thank you very much. I hope my point has gone. It will be taken well by you. Thank you very much. God bless you.